Welcome to Reasonably Spontaneous Conversation. I have an alumni of Reasonably Spontaneous Conversation, one of my favorite guests, Annetta Marion. Welcome back.
Hi, Dennis. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much for asking me back. And it's been a little while, so it's going to be super great to catch up.
Well, why don't we just take a look at what you've been up to recently?
All drivers to your board!
The MX5 Cup is the absolute pinnacle of action at the racetrack.
We are starting a new era of racing.
We gotta show the boys what's up. I'm not just driving to be the best girl driver, I'm racing to win.
It's the ultimate challenge.
The first 6 years of my career, I was the only woman.
It's a lot of pressure, but when the helmet goes on, nothing else matters.
Being a team owner,
I manage everything.
I'm not your mom, I'm your boss.
I have to fight every instinct of fear.
Oh my God!
It's consumed my life.
I haven't slept in 5 years.
I'm capable of winning. It's not like these guys are Superman.
Turns out we know what we're doing.
You need to do anything that it takes.
Oh my God!
It's exhausting for all the right reasons.
Oh my God, I'm cracking up so hard. That was a perfect cut. Let's see. Boom. So yeah, hats off to you.
That's off to
Very
Renee.
good plan.
That's a tip of the hat to Renee to be able the timing of that. She has that wonderful. Now, all right. So tell me the story.
Yeah, so that is First to the Finish, which is a 6-part nonfiction series on the 2024 Mazda MX-5 Cup through the lens of our 3 main talent. It's really, it's about the whole paddock and the whole season and that sort of thing, but you have to narrow down your focus a little because it's too much to fit into one documentary otherwise. And we chose the lens of a team, used to be racer, team owner Shay Holbrook, and racers Heather Hadley and Sally Mott. And it was fast and furious. And I say that as a joke because it's hilarious, but it also was just freaking true, Dennis, because it was fast and furious from the second we all got the calls. Everything was starting up within days. Then we were on the road from, shooting all the races and then on hometown visits in between for, over a year. And it was so much fun. I loved every second of it. I love speed and danger and women's stories and stories with high stakes in general. And this project ticked the boxes on all of those things and was just such a absolute dream and pleasure to be, to get to know these 3 intrepid women and their families and their teams as well as we were able to. So grateful to be able to spend the year that way.
Well, now as you told me your story, I don't remember you being a gearhead and going and sitting down by and watching the dirt tracks and doing all that. Did I miss that?
I grew up around motorcycles, and ever since then, I love motorcycles. I love fast cars. I have a lead foot. Even in my stupid gray Chevy Cavalier, I was still breaking speed barriers. And people were like, "Oh, were you driving a red car?" I'm like, "No, gray Chevy Cavalier." I just drove like a bat out of hell. So yeah, so that's always, I did work on one race car show a while ago. So had gotten my first taste to shooting on a, live racetrack, which is extremely dangerous, extremely big, extremely stinky, extremely loud, just extremely too much. And of course I loved it. So when First to the Finish came back around, I'm like, I know how to shoot on a racetrack at the very least. And yeah, it was fantastic. But yeah, high stakes and speed in general flip my boat.
Okay. It sounds like that there was a really big adrenaline rush for you in working and doing this on the process. And so how did you string it out so that you kept your energy level on this as you're doing? Because you're telling these stories, and these are such important stories, especially now at the time when we're having this awful reinterpretation of what DEI means. this is an opportunity to tell stories of people who are breaking in, who are really getting an opportunity to do it. And I know you and I have talked so much about how important we're seeing the equality of women and what a value that is in every single field. So talk a little, take something there and run with it.
Well, I mean, as we've talked before, I mean, first of all, First to the Finish certainly was an opportunity to spotlight women in motorsports, but the show is about the Mazda MX-5 Cup and Mazda, and what they're doing in the space and just trying to level the playing ground. And that's an important thing in any part of life where, money is important, right? Because it can't just be
Nope.
people with the means to
Exactly.
do all
Exactly. What did they say? What did they say in The Right Stuff? No bucks, no Buck Rogers.
right? And the world is huge and diverse and have many different kind of people in it, and everyone deserves at least a chance at their dream. Not just those of us who can just pay for it out of the gate.
Exactly. Exactly. So tell me some of the things that you learned about yourself during this process, because we talked about how, like, for example, when you did Still and all the work that you did there and all of your processes, because you're continuing to rise in the world of production, continuing to get this. So tell me where you are, both as an artist and as a producer, what you learned during this particular piece that you did.
Well, I always like working with different companies and different buyers. I mean, this is a first project for Amazon. This is also a branded content show, so there's an additional layer of comrades to make the show, which was Mazda.
So this is Mazda. Mazda has a piece of this, right?
Well, Mazda paid for it. Mazda made the show. So
that's wonderful. So these were your producers. These were your EPs, right? The executive producers is Mazda. So now you're getting a chance to both do corporate and entertainment, and to bring that hybrid.
Yeah, I mean, I've done branded content work before, but those have been mostly shorter projects, not a whole 6-hour movie, which basically a 6-part nonfiction series is kind of like a 6-hour movie. So this was my biggest branded project to date. But I like working with brands a lot. It's so interesting how they have such a different way of looking at sort of the same thing that we all in the entertainment space,
Yes.
look at again and again. So, having a different point of view, I like to learn. I like things that are different. So, that was new for me. Love working with new people. Had the best post team I've ever had in my entire life.
Really?
The best co-executive producer, Sarah Stallard, and the best DP. That we had the best team. And I also learned a little bit about my stamina, because those days on the racetrack are, at least 12-hour days, and you're on your feet and carrying around, like, got a monitor and walkie-talkies and, all the things, and you're on your feet the whole time, which I'm used to. But the way that I kept my
stamina, I'm 77 in a couple of days, and I don't love. Thank you. What I think of myself like a laptop battery, like a laptop battery. I may not be able to go as long as it is, because it's been charged so many times, but it's still, while it's there, it's at its peak. So as are you seeing a different stamina level than when you were like 18 and feeling and going, okay, this is different. I'm going to have to.
So when I was 18, I was on my feet for this many hours a day as well, but in high heels at the mall, working my retail job. So this is better. I get to wear comfortable shoes now. Can't stand that long and work that long.
It's so funny. I look at, and again, I know how judgy this sounds, so just go with me though. But when I look at the pointed toe, high heel it looks to me like foot binding. I sit there and go, how did you convince these brilliant women? How did we as a society convince these brilliant women that it is more beautiful to look that way than it's beyond me.
And tennis is coming back into style now. Not that it ever went out of style, but now it's even more firmly in style. Who knows? I don't know.
Well, anyway, I'm thank you. I'm just so glad you're taking
it's
care
quite
of
good.
your.
Thank you very much.
All right.
My stamina is good.
So when did you wrap? Not just wrap. I'm talking about wrap when it's done, and now what phase are you in?
Oh, the show, first to the finish, has been delivered. Full stop. The first 3 episodes dropped on Amazon March 25th, I believe.
Exactly.
The last 3, the last 3 of 6 are dropping tomorrow, April 15th on Amazon. So
How wonderful. All right. So how did you come down from the adrenaline and make that transition from that to now what am I going to do next?
I actually took advantage of the time to do some traveling just for fun, because I've been on the road for like a couple years with the Michael Fox movie, the Michael J. Fox movie, and now shooting and traveling for First to the Finish. I actually took some time off and had some travel for fun. I went to India with my best friend, and then went to Florida with some Siesta Key with some college friends. So it was nice to actively take that time to kind of pour back into myself. And also I've hit the ground running on other projects, and nothing I can talk about yet, but there's no rest for the wicked. I get
no, or the brilliant either, because all right, so now let's go back to India. You're in India. What are you learning about yourself in this experience of this extraordinary? I mean, this is when my ancestors were chewing bones, they were doing upper level mathematics, great science in this. So it's it's an incredible culture of science and music and culture. Tell me.
So the original plan was did not work out. We were wanting to go to the Kumbh, which is a giant spiritual festival that happens annually, I believe. But this year,
that's right, where they all go to the Ganges. Yes, I remember. Yes. I have heard of that.
So that was our plan, but my friend was too busy on her shoot, and I was too busy to really look into that before we were in India. And we thought we could wing it. And you know what? India laughed. India was like,
yes.
There's no bus like the next month. So.
If you want to give Shiva a laugh, tell her your plans.
Yeah, exactly. So we pivoted nicely. We ended up going from Mumbai to Jaipur to Delhi. Spent a lot of time in New Delhi as well, and I loved, even though we were winging it and we weren't able to do exactly what we thought we could do. It was the smorgasbord of delights and sounds and smells and beautiful art and so much, religion and spirituality, which I really appreciate very much. So
because we drink in that, we from the West, to be able to experience that from the East. So much of my spiritual background has been in metaphysics, which a lot comes from the East, and a lot comes from that. So it really recharges me when Yogananda or any of the great saints and philosophers in this that have come from the East.
Yeah. It really recharges my batteries. We work so hard making what we do, which is a job as well, but it's our, life, it's our art form. But I need to fill that well back up. And I find that it happens best when I'm doing things that have nothing to do with like what I do for a living, like my passion, which is, making films.
Sure.
That's why I'm here on Earth. But I need to fill that well back up other ways, not through film and television. So
absolutely.
Going to the museums, that's traveling. Have you seen the clock at MoMA? which is like, oh my goodness, it's like this
Amazing.
amazing piece of work. So yeah, so it's, I try and take rejuvenation there and inspiration, and also from nature, because I live in New York City, which is the center of the world. So only a little biased, but it's nice to get out in nature and hike and do things like that too. So
Wonderful.
those are all the things that keep me going, because the work is very hard, but it's the best thing on earth.
Isn't it? There's nothing. All right. So now let's go to the keys and tell me some learning and experiences. Tell me a story or two from that experience, because it sounds like this is like a movie where you're sitting there with your friends and there's got to be some stories.
Oh my goodness. So there were just three of us. These are some of my best friends from undergraduate school. So we've been friends for 20 odd years, and we were in places helping each other out, and it really forged such important bonds. And we only see each other once a year now, give or take. Sometimes it goes longer than that, but it's crazy how much after the first 5 minutes, nothing has changed. Nothing. Yeah, we're a little older, a little bit fatter, a little bit more wrinkles and all of that. But the dynamics are the same. The banter is the same. And with people like that who so well, and also I think getting to know them at such a young age,
Yes,
just allows us to, I hadn't really talked to these cats since a year ago, and we just kind of drop right into it, hugs, and it's all the same. So, but we did learn that even a rainy day on the beach is a fun day, which I kind of did know before, but it still is a fun day. And we also, I had never been to Siesta Key before, and that was great. I'd been to the Keys many times, but
sure.
Pine Key and the Key West and such. But
Yep.
yeah, and Siesta Key is beautiful, and it has everything you need: beach and friends and a high rise to go take a shower in.
Wonderful. So now, so you came back from that. What are you looking at in your windshield? What that you can share about what's going on, and how do you get back into the opportunities?
Mm-hmm. Well, we freelancers never really stop looking for work, because
Never. It is a number, and I have interviewed and talked with major celebrities who say exactly the same thing at the end of one project is, I will never get fired. I have no idea what I'm going to do and what happens. So that's something we have to accept.
Yeah, and luckily for me, I have a team. I have agents and managers, and they're out looking for me when I'm too busy to do anything but do what I'm doing or make what I'm making at the moment. So that always doesn't really ever stop. So we picked up a number of conversations, now that it was clear when I was going to be being freed up. We picked up those conversations quickly, and there's some really interesting things that I can't say anything more at this point, but it's scripted and action feature film, and also other really exciting nonfiction opportunities.
Wonderful. Do you feel a pull toward directing, producing, combination of both, of course, but I mean, do you have one or the other that more impels you?
Directing, full stop. Yeah, I mean, I've worked as a producer for so many years and produced so many things, but that was more of a means to paying my mortgage and my rent.
Exactly. And also adding to the resume, because the resume then allows you to make the transition, allows you to be able to have it, to be able to say, okay, I want the reins.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, yeah, definitely focused on directing. I direct and showrun as well, which I like as much as I like directing. But that's like where
Which is
that's
another, and for those of us who don't know, you know, if we have the showrunner is the person that makes it all happen and communicates up and down, correct? Do I have that as this is the really most important cog to having it happen. Of course, the director and the producer and all, but the showrunner does it.
Yes, yes. And that role expands and contracts depending on the players and the other people involved and that sort of thing. But yeah, that's a good general look at it. Yeah, for sure.
Good, good. So anyway, what have we not dig into the Annetta Marion file inside? Let's talk about something that we haven't talked about right now that might pop into your
Just
anything in the world, anything in your personal life, anything that's going on that is particular to you.
Well, I'm always very interested in self-care and what we can do for ourselves to keep going, because life can be hard and never enough time for sleep, and there's always something, and everyone you know, everyone has that sort of thing. So I really take self-care seriously, because I think we all have to, you know, at this point.
Well, no, I don't know that
I
we
always
have to,
had
but
to,
we know we know the cost, but the cost doesn't seem to come right away. So we have to stay in front of it, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, we can start taking care of ourselves when we run into trouble, but it's better if you can do that a little
exactly. Before, God, I wish I had put the oil in the car. If I only had put oil in the engine. Yeah.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be sitting on the side of the road with that thing on fire and that smell of diesel and hot metal. Yes. Yeah.
A few quarts of oil.
That's
Amazing.
it. It's the timely thing that's got to get right.
Yeah, that we do that. Are you meditating now? Are you what kind of spiritual practices and resonances did you bring back, or were emphasized from your time in India?
Well, I've been some version of a meditator for a long time now. I've dabbled in a bunch of different styles. But of course, everything in India just cemented the fact that spirituality is an important part of, you know, should be an important part of like your daily routine, you know, for support and all that sort of thing. But no, I meditate, I journal, you know, I'm exercising pretty well these days, which is a freaking miracle, knocking on wood. No, I always just try and just be kind to myself and to others.
But that is a big form of spirituality. To me, the universe is user-friendly. It has only one answer to every question. Yes. Life is so hard and everybody's so mean and everybody just is terrible. Yes.
And that's what you attract.
By law.
Yes.
This is no, I mean, it's like gravity is a law, and quantum mechanics are laws. That is a law. And we can talk about it, and we can talk about it in exactly that way because it is user friendly. It does work that way. I mean, that's one of the ways, one of the reasons why I know that it works is because I met you.
And I met you because of that.
There's the balance.
Isn't it?
Thank you, Annetta. Thank you for today. And I want to continue these. I want you to be the longest running, continual, reasonably spontaneous conversation guest that we've ever had alongside of your career. As long as I'm on the planet, I'm going to be pinging you and saying, Annetta Marion, let's do another show.
Dennis, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time catching up and everything that you've done for me. Really appreciate it.
Our pleasure. All right. Thank you, everyone. And we will see you next time.